All right, guys, welcome back. Today, we need to talk about the biggest theme driving the market right now, and that is the AI infrastructure and data center build out with Nvidia sitting right at the center of it. If you looked at the market today, the narrative was extremely clear. This was not just a random tech rally. The focus was especially on AI infrastructure, data centers, and the companies supplying the hardware that powers AI. And the reason for that was NVIDIA's GTC conference, which kicked off today. GTC is basically NVIDIA's biggest event of the year, and investors watch it closely because it often sets the tone for the entire AI sector. During the keynote and announcements today, NVIDIA revealed a number of major developments tied directly to the next phase of AI infrastructure. Jensen said that NVIDIA sees at least $1 trillion in revenue by 2027, which is a massive projection and reinforces the idea that the AI build out is still in its early stages. He also mentioned that about 60% of NVIDIA's business is now coming from hyperscalers, meaning that the biggest tech companies in the world are still spending aggressively on AI compute. Now, beyond that, NVIDIA introduced several new technologies that all point towards the same direction, scaling AI infrastructure. Now, all these announcements reinforce one core idea. The AI boom is no longer just about software or chatbots, it's about building the physical infrastructure required to run these systems, which means chips, memory, networking, power systems, and data centers. And that theme showed up across the market today. Memory and optical stocks were among the early leaders, with names like Micron, Western Digital, and Ciena showing strong moves early in the session. There were also additional headlines reinforcing the AI infrastructure theme. Meta signed a 5-year AI compute deal worth up to $27 billion. Micron announced plans to build a new DRAM facility in Taiwan, and multiple companies are continuing to expand AI data center capacity globally. So the takeaway from today's market action is simple. The AI data center build out is still accelerating. So looking at the daily chart, Nvidia is trading inside an ascending channel. Right now, price is basically sitting around the mid-range of that channel, and that's what makes this current area so important. This is the decision zone. If Nvidia can break above that mid-range around 188, then I think it's a very strong chance we see a move towards 200 plus very soon. That would likely open up the door for a push toward the upper part of that channel and will also give more fuel to the broader AI trade. On the other hand, if Nvidia cannot reclaim that mid-range area cleaning and gets rejected, then I think the first important downside level to watch is 175, which lines up with the lower end of the channel. So the technical view on Nvidia is very straightforward right now. Break 188 and 200 plus becomes into play very quickly. If it fails here, then 175 is the first major area to watch before the stock tries to head back toward the highs later. And obviously, this chart matters a lot because Nvidia is still the leader. If Nvidia breaks higher, it can help push the entire AI infrastructure theme higher with it. If Nvidia weakens, it can delay the next move in the smaller names. And that brings me to the first smaller stock that I want to talk about in this theme, which is NIXX. Today, NIXX had a very strong move. The stock climbed from around 57 cents all the way to about 73, which is pretty significant intraday move from a micro cap. Looking at the daily chart, the move actually looks like it might be just getting started. After a long downtrend, the stock is starting to show signs of stabilization and momentum building to the upside. Now, the first key thing that I'm watching on the chart is the supply zone above a dollar, which is the first major profit target if this momentum continues. If the stock can push through that level, the next area of interest becomes $1.50 or higher, where previous price action suggests another supply zone could exist. Now, from a trading perspective, the level that really matters to me on NIX is support between 50 and 60 cents at the moment. As long as that range holds as support, the overall structure of the move remains intact. So personally, I'm looking at starting to accumulate a position this week as long as that 50 to 60 cent support zone continues to hold. Now let's move over to VEEA, which is another interesting setup developing right now. If you look at the daily chart for VIA right here, the technical story is the downward trend that has been setting up in place for months. For a long time, the stock has been making lower highs, but recently price has started pushing up toward that trend line again. And now we're seeing signs that VEEA may actually be breaking out of that downtrend. When a stock breaks a long-term trend line like that, it often signals the beginning of a larger trend reversal. If this breakout continues to confirm, the next technical levels I'm watching are around $1.27 first, followed by $1.75 or higher in the near term. Those levels correspond to previous areas where the stock had strong reactions in the past. Just like with NIX, the key support here is 50-cent range. As long as the 50s hold as a strong base this week, the breakout structure remains valid. So this is another name where I'm looking to add a position this week, provided that the stock continues to hold that base and confirm the breakout. Now, when you zoom out and connect all the pieces together, the bigger picture remains pretty clear. Nvidia continues to lead the AI trade. The market narrative right now is focused on AI infrastructure and data centers. And underneath the large cap names, traders are beginning to look for smaller companies that fit into that same theme. So moving forward, Nvidia remains the leader to watch for the broader AI market. And I would not be surprised if Trump comes out and talks more about data centers in the near term. But names like NIXX and VEEA could become interesting speculative plays if this AI infrastructure narrative continues to expand. That's what I'm watching right now, and we'll see how this theme develops over the coming weeks. And I'll see you guys in the next one.